How's it going, my true people? Dr.Slaking, the Slaking Doctor, back with week 2 of the APA Academy for you, and this week we are going up against my man Curt the Buzzwole and his Brisbane Buzzwoles, I believe, as I trip over my words slightly there. And before we get into this, I have to give a huge shout out to my man Panther2, I believe recorded this battle for me, and I believe DyeItTight joined the team for me this week. Both their links will be down in the description along with everybody else that helps me out with that kind of thing, so huge thank you to them. And you may notice things look a little bit different right now, and that's because we're going to have a very quick team builder with some visuals going up above my head. The first one should be appearing right now, maybe? Who knows? Let's see if I did editing properly. And as you can see, I'm basically just going to run through the mons very quickly. With it all on screen, I think it would be a faster breakdown for you guys. It'd be a little bit more visually interesting, rather than just doing it a team preview and rambling on for a bit. So, first up, we have Thunderous. Will Smith making his debut, don't think we brought in week 1. Can't quite remember. Regardless, so we have Will Smith here, the Thunder. I basically just 3 attacks U-turn with lefties on there, so we can come in on Taunt T, because my opponent has a Taunt T, which pressures my draft pretty nicely, and basically with lefties, we take a hit, and be able to pressure it. I also need to give a huge shout out to Stromful and Aquarius in particular, along with the rest of my front office, but those two in particular helped me mock for this week, and their sets and feedback on my sets were really useful, so shout out to Stromful for the leftovers, for example, on this set. Then next up, we have Batfink, I believe, Gliscor. Yeah, next up is Batfink the Gliscor. I reckon the Toxic Orb. This is a pretty fizz def set. With the Earthquake, Hidden Power, Fire, Stealth, Recon, Roost. This thing can basically just take on Kartana all day long. That's the idea. The HP Fire tech on there just to bop that Kartana, and it helps us handle that monster pretty easily. Next up, we have Hagen the Alakazam. Another Focus Sash set. Once again, just going to help with setup sweepers. My opponent has a Kartana with HP Fire will hit. Has a Haxorus, which Dazzling Gleam will hit. And has things like Conkeldurr, which Psychic will hit if it's like a speed passing into Conkeldurr, because they have a Combustion, which can speed pass, which is pretty scary. So yeah, just kind of helps out with things like that. And T-Wave also can slow down Taunt T, which can help one of my other win cons we'll get to shortly, help that win in the late game. So that's the idea there. Next up, we have Vileplume, Chicago the Vileplume, rocking the Rocky helmet for the debut on the channel with a bold nature, very defensive. As you can see, this thing with Sleep Paralysis Strength Sap is really obnoxious. Basically, you can come in on Conkeldurr. We've got quite a lot of speed investment, so we'll be able to outspeed like a Conkeldurr speed creeping my Florges, for example. And we'll be able to come in on that, Strength Sap all the health back off Conkeldurr. Any damage that it does to me will be recovered from that. Put it at -1 attack, -2 attack, -3 attack, so on and so forth. And because Conkeldurr is so damn strong and Strength Sap is such a busted move, this thing will never be able to beat me 1v1 essentially, as long as I keep Strength Sap in. And Sleep Powder is pretty hard to switch into if I want to make a prediction. We also have the Effect Spore on there to try and slow things down, like the Haxorus, for example. If it gets in a position to set up sweep and it ties itself into a physical move or a contact move, then we can throw out the Strength Sap. Also might be useful, he has a Comfey. Draining Kiss is a contact move, so Rocky Helmet plus Effect Spore could be useful for a Calm Mind Comfey that might sweep us otherwise. Fifth mon, we have Florges, returning after starring last week with the Calm Mind set. We have a Calm Mind set once again this week. Basically, Florges just doesn't get a lot of coverage and stuff, so it's just like, just throw Calm Mind on there and it helps, and it can be really effective, as we saw last week. But yeah, I think Havisham can do a lot of work this week. We actually have it gemmed white this week, which is perfect, so that's really good. It's the defogger in the team, and like I said, can just be obnoxious and pivot into things. Basically, Torn really struggles to break it without running Z moves, so that's pretty nice. And then last up, we have Infinite Arcurum Black. We're rocking a Steelium Z subset this week. Basically, we can sub up if we want to predict the Ordino or the Comfey coming in, and then we can bop them with like a Z Ironhead or Ironhead into Z Ironhead, depending on which one it is. Ordino would need the chip first, whereas Comfey will just get destroyed. So that's the set. That's the team. Sorry, and they're the ideas. Going this, like I say, I really want Kyurem to kind of be my main win con in this game. If I can slow down the Taunt T, it outspeeds a lot of my opponent's team and just puts in a ton of work. Otherwise, we kind of can just win without bulk. I think it's more of a defensive build this week and trying to win off that. So yeah, maybe Thunder can put in some work too. We'll just have to wait and see. But with that being said, guys, I will see you in the battle. So here we are in the battle, guys, and I forgot to tell you that there would be a timestamp in that first bit of the video. I'm still getting used to this new format and these changes and stuff, but hopefully you guys figured that out anyway. I'm sure I would have shown it pretty clearly on the screen. But yeah, here we are in the main part of the battle. Let me know how you guys find this kind of new format with the team builder and stuff. Maybe I should try and include some way of showing my opponent's team and stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah, let me know what you think. Feedback would be great. I want this to be the best Draft League content that we've had on the channel, and I'm working really hard to do that with better graphics, with the stuff, Xing out the Pokemon on the side that go down so you guys can keep track of the battle better on a post-com and all that kind of stuff. So let me know feedback, very much appreciated. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this. So, he does bring the Taunty, the Combusken, the Comfey, the Mega Ordino, complete Unmon here, the Conkeldurr, and the Electivire. Now, looking at his team, there's a few things that I thought I could understand pretty well from Team Preview. It looks like Speed Pass, probably Combusken, I'm guessing, into the Conkeldurr. Shout out to Aquarius in particular, who made me prep for that, because otherwise I just didn't really consider it a thing. I saw Combusken and ignored it, but Speed Pass is a thing and I need to be ready for it. I also saw Double Fairy, which makes me think that Comfey is probably a Calm Mind win con, because I don't know why you would bring both. I don't feel like both are necessary unless you want Comfey to be a win con and not a defensive check, which means that Ordino is probably a defensive check. That's my kind of thinking anyway at Team Preview. And Electivire, again, is a mon that I don't really like, to be honest. I think it's kind of bad. I know a lot of people love it, but it looks like it could be Speed Pass into Electivire as well, but I'm pretty confident of handling that depending on its coverage, but I do need to find out its coverage as early as possible. I need to be really careful with the Conkeldurr if it is Speed Passing into Conkeldurr, because my Vileplume is designed to outspeed Conkeldurr, and without it outspeeding it, it doesn't get to Strength Sap it. It will just die to two hits if I switch in hard on it. So I've got to be really, really careful with how I play around that. But for the most part, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, Calm Mind Floor just looks amazing because he doesn't bring the Kartana. And like I say, I was pretty confident at handling Kartana, or I didn't say this probably in the team builder, but because I have Vileplume, Gliscor, and Forretress, I didn't think the Kartana would actually come particularly. But even if it did, I thought I could handle it. So Floor just looks even better though with no Kartana to even revenge kill it. I also think that Thundy looks pretty solid, as I can pretty safely predict the Electivire coming in every time, I feel, at Team Preview. And I think if I slow down the Torn, then Kieran Black has an amazing matchup. Bulky Kieran Black really goes in here. He pretty much just trades 1-for-1 with any mon that I want to trade it for, or possibly goes 2-for-1. So looks really, really nice. And Sash Zam, my Sash isn't super crucial because he doesn't have any of the setup sweepers that I was fearing. So that means I can preserve my Sash to maybe get a Thunder Wave off on the Torn, which is really nice. So there are all the things I'm kind of thinking at Team Preview. And I decided to lead off with my Thundy, because basically if he leads off with Torn, I don't want to have to switch into it with something else and just take Needless Chip. And I think that Torn is his best lead against my team, and I want to just scare it out turn 1, basically. So go on the offensive as early as possible. So we do lead off with Will Smith here. And because he has that, the goddamn Electivire in the back, which I'm pretty sure will be like Motor Drive, whatever the hell it is that Electivire gets. I'm just going to fire off a Psychic, predicting that to come in. But he actually goes into Curt the Conkeldurr, and I'm like, oh shit. Well, this is going to do quite a chunk, because this is super effective. It makes me look like a god. I wasn't reading the Conkeldurr coming in. I thought AV Conkeldurr was a possibility, but I thought that Electivire would be the pivot into it. But instead, we get 50% off on the Conk. The reason I thought Conk wouldn't come in so much is because, like I said, I was kind of thinking Speed Pass into Conk Preview. But he goes for the Ice Punch here. I now know that he's basically max HP, max attack, probably AV. So I know I'm definitely going to outspeed with Vileplume, which is amazing. So I can just switch in fairly comfortably. Unless he froze me there, I would get Strength Sap him. And even if he froze me, I'd get the Rocky Helmet chip to put him in Psychic range from Will Smith. So it wouldn't have been the end of the world, right? He Ice Punches again. And off the back of my Strength Sap, that's now doing like 40%, so 45% probably, so not doing too much. And we get the effects board triggering, paralyzing him, which is pretty nice. I mean, if he was Guts, it'd be pretty scary, but it doesn't seem like a Guts set. It might be Guts, don't know. Here, I do think he'll switch out, and I considered going for the Sleep Powder on the incoming Torn that I thought would come in, which it does, because Sleep Powder is so free against his team. I forgot to mention that at Team Preview, because he doesn't bring a Grass type. Sleep Powder is really, really free. Don't think he'll have safety goggles on anything. But I decided that it is more useful to actually just Strength Sap. If we miss the Sleep Powder, we get nothing out of the turn. If we Sleep Powder, we get back to full, and we can still potentially check a physical Electivire, or we can still check the Conkeldurr if he tries to like wish it back up and he has like Aromatherapy on Comfey, something like that, right? So I still want to keep Vileplume around, because that Conkeldurr, while neutered for now, is definitely not like a non-existent threat. It's still a threat. So we're going to go to Havisham here on the Thundy, because basically I don't reveal that I'm leftovers on the Taunt, sorry, because I don't want to reveal that I'm leftovers Thundy. At the minute, all he's seen is that I'm max special attack, not modest, and no boosting item. So he might be fearing the Z, and I want him to keep the Z in the back of his head for as long as possible. So that's why I choose Havisham as the pivot there rather than Will Smith, even though Will Smith would have got me more offensive momentum, arguably. So here he goes into the Electivire. He goes for the Volt Switch. I wanted to scout for the Iron Tail, that's why I went into Gliscor with Havisham. Now that I know that he's more special, I think that I can wall him forever with Havisham, but he actually goes for the Ice Punch. I'm like, okay, so he's some kind of mixed variant. As I go to get my rocks up, not thinking that he'll stay in particularly, because obviously this could be a speed tie or whatever, I'm not quite sure. And if he's Scarf, then I don't think Well, he can't stay in if he's Scarf, right? Because he'd be Scarfed into Volt Switch. But this reveals he's not Scarf, which is really good information. Reveals that he's mixed, which means he's probably got a negative defense nature, because this thing is something that I think would want to be able to take a hit from Thundy. So that's really, really nice, because I now know that, for example, U-turning with Thundy is going to do a whole chunk. And he actually goes for the Flamethrower here rather than the double Ice Punch, predicting my Vileplume to come in, I think. But like I say, I do want Vileplume around because the Conkeldurr isn't gone just yet. And I now know that Havisham can ward this thing. So yeah, I traded like 75% on Gliscor to get Rocks up. But Rocks put huge pressure on Torn, which is a hard thing for my team to break. So I really value Rocks. And like I say, now I've scouted and I know that this Electivire can't beat my Florges. So here I'm going to go for the Moonblast. It's pretty free because I'm getting a ton of lefties anyway. I know that his Volt Switch is going to bounce off me as he pivots out into the Ordino. And it basically gets me a good bit of chip on anything. We get like 50% on this Unmon, and I'm like, that's nice. That's really, really nice. I don't know who this John Jr. guy is, but he has a bad taste in Pokemon if he likes Mega Ordino. And now we can pivot out into Vileplume on this Ordino. I think he's probably going to have to go for the Wish here. So I could have like started Calm Minding up on him, for example. And honestly, I might have just been able to win the game from here if I'd started Calm Minding up. But it didn't seem worth it. I don't know yet what the Combusken set is. I don't know yet enough about his team to really risk that. If this thing's Calm Mind Ordino, I don't want to enter like a crit race where we basically see who crits first with Calm Minds being fired up on both sides. Instead, I'm just going to go into Vileplume, and now I'm going to Sleep Powder, because even though he's wished and he could Wish Pass into Conkeldurr, it doesn't really gain him a lot, right? Conkeldurr comes in and gets infinitely walled by Chicago anyway, so I may as well just Sleep Powder here, as I don't think that the Conkeldurr's ever coming out, and if it does, I don't lose a ton. So it would keep his Ordino low, and if he stays in with his Ordino to get his Ordino healthy again, I get to put it to sleep, which then means that Kieran Black only has one fairy to worry about, which is awesome. So here I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb. I did think that the Taunt could come out, but it just seemed pretty free. Like, it does a chunk to Torn, so I was like, well, why not? There's nothing that really takes Sludge Bomb that nicely on his team. Like, Torn's the best switch in and it doesn't take it that well, or he'd have to sack the Conkeldurr, and if I can get him to sack the Conkeldurr, then that's really great for me because it frees up my Chicago anyway, my Vileplume anyway. But here goes for the Hurricane, and he lands it, and he gets the Confusion on Havisham, and I'm like, damn, that sucks. Here I think he either has to U-turn or Taunt. I don't think he can risk stay in and let me just Moonblast him. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go for the Synthesis. If he taunts me, I can't hit myself in Confusion anyway because I don't fire for attack, which gives me a free turn of lefties, which seems worth it because it gets me back to a decent range of health again, where I can probably take 2 Hurricanes maybe. And also, if he just U-turned, I might be able to get the Synthesis off, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. So that's why I never felt like he Hurricaned there. If I felt like he Hurricaned, I probably wouldn't have stayed in because I wouldn't want to risk the Confusion, but I didn't feel like that was his play. So he U-turns here as I go out into Will Smith, and I am going to reveal that I'm lefties here, but again, I just can't, after he's taunted down, Florges, I can't risk him Hurricane spamming there. Again, I don't think it's his play because I could kill him with Moonblast, but I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk hitting myself in Confusion. Havisham is still a win con against his team, so I definitely want to keep it around. Here he pivots out into this thing, and now I can U-turn because I know it's not Scarfed. I am pretty sure it's a negative defense nature, and you can see from that U-turn, considering it's like uninvested U-turn and minus attack nature, I'm pretty sure that is a minus defense nature on his Electivire. So we get a nice amount of chip off with the U-turn there. I think we might have attack nature, not quite sure. But we basically just sack Batfink. Batfink was free if he went for like a Volt Switch or something, and then I could maybe pivot into something Havisham and stop him from getting momentum on me. I didn't want to go hard into Florges there because if he Volt Switched, he got momentum. But also by sacking Gliscor there, we can get Hagen in for free and we guarantee a KO here. And that's what I want to do. I want to force a KO because now I can force the Conkeldurr to come out. I figure that's his sack because he probably is a negative defense nature. Even if he's AV, Electivire, he can't risk me having Psyshock, so I feel like he has to sack his Conkeldurr here, and that's really what I want, because now my Vileplume is freed up, my Vileplume is more expendable, he's never going to be able to get the Conkeldurr back to a good range of health because it's dead, and also he has one less sack in the back to my offensive Mons. So again, if I can bring in Mons that outspeed things, like if I can bring in Hagen again, he has to sack something again. Every time Alakazam comes in, he sacks something near enough, so I feel like that puts me in a really good spot. Here he goes for the U-turn. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I thought he might attack, to be fair. I wasn't really sure. U-turn kind of seemed like his best play, I suppose. That's why I didn't T-Wave as well, because I did U-turn there. My T-Wave would have been wasted. So I didn't want to just burn my Sash for no reason on a U-turn. He could have had like knockoff or something, which I thought was a distinct possibility. But regardless, Will Smith just seemed like a safe switch in. He goes into Calm Fair, and I'm like, yeah, this thing's Calm Mind for sure. For sure, this thing's Calm Mind. There's no other reason to bring it in here. He's going for game. He's trying to win. But I have my bulky Kieran Black. Kieran Black has enough HP to always take a Life Orb, +1 modest Draining Kiss, or 2 unboosted modest Life Orb Draining Kisses. So I guarantee to 1v1 this thing. And we're sitting pretty. Here, I'm just going to fire off my Steelium Z, because like I say, it guarantees to drop this thing. Unless he's like Babiri Berry, it guarantees to drop this thing. Even Babiri Berry, depending on the set, it might kill him. I don't even know. He goes for the Draining Kiss, and I'm like, that's fine. It won't kill. It does kill. It's a crit. And I'm salty. Right now, I get up. I'm sat over there on my sofa playing. I get up, and I have a little walk around the room. I'm mad, because I'm like, this is not good. This is really not good. Basically, this comp phase, Life Orb Modest, +1/+1. And my only physical attacker is dead. Damn, this is really, really bad. And this, like, that set was designed to always take a +1 Draining Kiss from Comfey, or always take 2 neutral Draining Kisses from Comfey, and to always kill with Steelium Z. So it's like the set that I deliberately designed to take this thing on just got crit by it, and now is no longer a check, and I don't have any secondary checks, which is probably bad prep on my part. But I do have some options here. So I have a little think after I get the salt out of my system. I have a little think, and I'm like, okay, I can play around this thing. I'm going to go into Chicago here, because if he's Mono Draining Kiss, he should be HP Fire for Fortress, but if he's Mono Draining Kiss, it's a contact move, which means Rocky Helmet plus Effect Spore is going to take hold. But actually, he's not. He does have HP Fire, which makes perfect sense. But I can just go for a Sludge Bomb here, and I'm going to do a chunk. He can't Mind on me, particularly because he risks the poison, which is not good for him. And we're doing too much for him to really calm mind on me that comfortably, especially if he doesn't have Synthesis. I feel like he's probably got Aromatherapy once he reveals HP Fire. That was the other thing. If he had Synthesis, he probably didn't have HP Fire. So, because I feel like his last move is probably Aromatherapy. So we put him really, really low, and that's what my goal was. My goal was either to get the Rocky Helmet plus Life Orb plus Effect Spore chip, to get a Sludge Bomb, Poison, things like that. But crucially, even if I couldn't, even if he had a good set, the set that he should have and everything else, I would guarantee that he was down really, really low. And what that means is that he has to Draining Kiss to survive a Moonblast here. He can't Calm Mind, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he needs to get the recovery. So what that means is that I can Calm Mind. And if I can Calm Mind, maybe I can win this war. Now, the reason that I didn't want to play it this way off the bat is because if I brought this in when he was at full health, he could just keep Calm Minding, and we would have to Calm Mind along each other, get to +6/+6 basically, and see who crit first. And I didn't want to play that game. I did not want to play the who crits first game. Now, I do have higher base stats. I do have lefties. I do have... and he does have Life Orb, so in theory, I'm getting a lot more residual health back while he's losing health all the time. But nevertheless, I just don't want to play around with crits. I've already got crit once, I just don't want to play that game. So we go for the first Calm Mind, knowing that, again, unless he crits, we're going to take it. Here, again, I feel like he has to Draining Kiss again, because if I Moonblast, I'm just going to kill him, and he's in a pretty bad spot. So I fil like I'm forcing his hand, forcing him to keep Draining Kissing and to try and keep me low. But actually, I could just go for another Calm Mind, because... he can't KO me from this range, and if he didn't Drain and Kiss there, I would have got another turn of lefties. I would have got to +2/+2 as he went to +2/+2, and then we could have just started playing the game, right? But now I'm actually boosted ahead of him, and he hasn't really regained that much because of the Life Orb chip on him and the little amount he's regaining off me with the Draining Kiss. He hasn't really gained that much health, so I know I can kill him with a Moonblast here, and I feel like he's gonna Calm Mind because he kind of has to right now. At this point, I'm just Calm Minding up, I'm boosting, and I'm just gonna blow through his whole team if he's not careful. So knowing that at this range I guarantee to KO, he won't kill me with a Draining Kiss. If he goes for it, I may as well fire off the Moonblast. And as you can see there, had he gone for the Draining Kiss, he would have been one stage higher in his Calm Mind, lower in his Calm Mind boost, so he's still with the extra HP, still wouldn't have lived that. So we forced the KO there basically, and we do play around. But again, now we're still in a bad spot because the Electivire comes out and he's gonna Ice Punch me. And if he freezes or crits me, I still lose. So, like, this is why I didn't want to go this route. This is why I was so salty, because I'm going a route where, yes, I knew that from turn whatever, when I had when I could have gone into this, or I had this in against the Ordino, I knew then that I could have calm-minded up and tried to win the game, but I didn't want to run the risk of hacks, and unfortunately, me trying to avoid hacks got my Kyurem hacked. So, that's how it goes sometimes. He goes for the Ice Punch here, and I'm praying that he doesn't freeze as I go for the Synthesis. He doesn't. We get a good amount of health back, which is incredible. And now I'm out of range of even a crit Ice Punch. So I'm like, okay, unless he freezes, I can Synthesis again here, and we're looking pretty good. I actually think my opponent misplayed here. I think that he's already shown the Taunt on Taunt T. So rather than going into Electivire when I was at really low health with my Florges, I think he should have gone into Taunt T, and I think he should have taunted me. Because that way I never could have got Havisham healthy, and he could have, between his physical threats in Electivire and Combusken, he could have broken my Florges. And then it would have come down to the Taunt T plus and the Sleeping Ordino plus the rest of my team, and whichever one of his two physical attackers survived. But yeah, I think that would have been his... Well, no, actually his Torn would have died. So it would have been down to his physical attackers, basically, to try and clean up my team. I think that would have been his better play than trying to freeze me. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe freezing was the play, actually, because I still don't know if he could have won with his physical attackers in the back. I don't know. It's pretty difficult to say for sure. But regardless, now I'm in a spot... Oh, crap. Where I hit my microphone. Now I'm in a spot where I pretty much beat his team outside of hacks. He has to go for the Hurricane Confusions into full Confusions. So he does go for the Hurricane. He does land it. He does get the Hurricane again. 2 out of 2 Hurricanes. 2 out of 2 Hurricanes landed and 2 out of 2 Confusions gained. And I do hit myself in Confusion. And I am shitting myself. I'm like, no. Let's not do this, because if he Hurricanes again and Confusions me, and I hit myself again, he might put me in range of, like, if he does have, like, Iron Tail or something on here, or Sludge Wave on here, or something that he just hasn't shown yet. I'm really, really concerned, so I just go for the Synthesis. Like, I've got to. I didn't want to. I wanted to just Moonblaster his team from this point, because I feel like the longer I'm in, the more hacks that he can get. But, fortunately, we do break through this turn. By the way, this Torn landed 3 out of 3 Hurricanes and got 2 out of 2 Confusions on the turns that it needed it. Incredible. Then he goes for the Hurricane again. It's doing minimal damage, and here we snap out of Confusion. I'm just going to go for Moonblast. Like I say, I want to be in for as few turns as possible to run as little risk of hacks as possible. And we Moonblast, and we pick up the KO. And now this is pretty much GG, depending on what his Combuskin is. And that thing is still a problem. We got Rocks up, so if it's Sash won't be intact. But if it's like, I don't know if this thing's like Poisonium Z or Steelium Z, I don't even know what coverage it gets. Maybe there's a chance. But he actually goes for the bulk up here, and this was 100% his correct play. Like, he had to play off me choking, because had I gone for the Calm Mind, the Synthesis or something, and he maybe could have swept my whole team with a bulk up, then that was absolutely the play he had to make. Fortunately, I don't choke. I do just Moonblast. There's no reason for me to do anything else. But I get why he made that play. Had I tried to, like, I don't know, Calm Mind setting up on this thing to try and beat down the Ordinal or something, I don't know. Had I made some weird play, bulk up was the correct play, and I completely support him making that one. Like I said, the only one that I'm not sure about is like the Electivire Torn thing. I still don't know which is best. It's a weird situation for him. But here I'm just going to Moonblast, because I don't want this thing waking up and Calm Minding and basically us going back into a Calm Mind crit war. We do get a good amount of damage off, showing that my next Moonblast will kill. We do outspeed this complete Unmon, and he doesn't wake up. So that is going to be GG. And it was a really, really interesting game. Like, I feel like I've spoken a lot about the crit on the Kyurem. Like I say, I spoke about it a lot because at the time it seemed huge to me. I was like, this has put me in a really bad spot where I have to run so many risks with Florges, right? We did get the Confusion, we did get the full Confusion, that kind of stuff. We did have 2 Ice Punches that we had to not get frozen on. So there was like, I feel like it was really relevant because it really put me in the back in terms of how many more risks I had to take. Whereas at that point, I felt like we were in the driving seat, because if we bopped the Comfey with the Steelium Z, then we were in a really, really good spot with the rest of the team. We didn't have to sack Vileplume. We didn't have to sack Kyurem. We could have maybe got a big hit off with Kyurem on something else that outsped. So that was why that was so relevant. But regardless, still very good game to my opponent. It was a super, super tough match and a super fun one. I really, really genuinely enjoyed this battle. It kind of pushed me and tested me a lot. I found it really, really difficult. I had to think on the fly a lot in this one. Usually with draft leagues, like, people come up with game plans before the matches, so you'd be like, okay, I know when I go into this that I always switch in Vileplume on Concoda. I always click Strength Sap. I always scout for this move with this. I always do this. Like, there's, you know, certain turns before you come to draft league, if you have your prep on point, that you know how it's going to go down, right? This game was not one of those. This game was one of the ones where I had to think on my feet, where I had to be like, how the hell am I going to counter this threat now that I've lost my main check? How am I going to do this? So really, really good game to my opponent. Really, really enjoyed this one. Hopefully I explained it well, and let me know what you guys thought of the slight change of format with the new graphics and stuff like that. Hopefully it'll improve the quality of our videos moving forward. Next week, we take on Silver Smasher and his Floridian Typhlosions. He is currently 2-0 as well. Obviously, this week we go to 2-0. Florges the MVP right now, +7 differential coming through with those Calm Mind sets, which has been awesome. But yeah, very, very scary opponent next week again. Someone that beat me actually the one time that we played before. So definitely want to rematch him and give him a better battle this time, because the last time I didn't have a proper team and stuff. So this time I really want to give him a good game. So looking forward to that very, very much. I hope you guys are too. And of course, we've only got 2 more weeks left with this draft before we get a whole new draft, because that's the way that the APA works. It's super, super weird. But yeah, look forward to that as well in the coming weeks. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, guys, and I'll catch you again next time.